Hello, thank you for joining me on this first episode of the Blue Mage's Library. Today we'll be talking about Ireland by Frank Delaney. Yes, I'm holding it up right. This book I picked up with an interest in learning about Ireland. Still am very interested in Ireland, but I picked this up at a point where I was just fascinated by Ireland, Irish cooking, Irish culture, Irish literature, so on. So I picked it up, hoping to learn more, and I did. It's a very good novel, highly recommended. So, I guess we will begin with just a quick summary of the plot. There will be spoilers. You are forewarned. I can't help myself if I get to that point, but... Or maybe there won't be. I don't know. But if there are, consider that your warning. Let's proceed. It's the story of one young man in Ireland, Ronan O'Mara, who, when he's 11 years old, I forget his exact age, in the 50s in Ireland, him and his family are visited by a storyteller. And this man stays for 3 days and tells Ronan four stories. Sorry, forgetting the details. I read this a while ago and I'm just now getting to this. But told him 4 stories that captivated the young boy and pretty much shaped his life forever. The rest of the book, put simply, is about Ronan's search for this man and eventually finding him, and the stories he comes across along the way. The book itself jumps between Ronan's story and all those stories he learns, the ones told by the storyteller, ones Ronan tells himself, and just stories told by other people he meets in his search. And all these stories have to do with Ireland itself, the history of Ireland, the people of Ireland, the stories of Ireland. It's as much about the country and Ireland as it is about Ronan himself. And so, during his quest, he grows up, he goes to college, learns history, to study history, and eventually, after many trials, many struggles, he finally finds this old man again and has him tell one final story, which is the story of the Easter Uprising in Ireland. A very literary touch there. And then happy endings all around. Ronan finds out that the storyteller is actually his grandfather, and happy ending again. Kind of ends there. It's, again, pretty straightforward in terms of plot. There are twists and turns here and there, like the storyteller being his grandfather being one of the bigger plot twists, and the secrets of Ronan's family, which we'll get to, because I want to talk about the themes I found in the book. One of the strongest ones is family, and the importance of family and family connections, and how really Ireland is, or at least the way the author presents it, Ireland should or is one big family, or should consider itself so, considering the strife it's gone through and how necessary all the fighting and all that is. But more specifically though, Ronan's family is a complicated one. Ronan's mother, well, let's start with his father. Ronan's father is a good man, a small town lawyer, and loves his son dearly. A good man all around. His wife is a bit bitter at having several miscarriages and finally having Ronan, but not really. It turns out his aunt is really his mom, and his mom is really his aunt. Because his mom couldn't conceive and kept having miscarriages, they brought in her sister to give Ronan's father a child. And they did. And then they keep it a secret for him until he finds out one day, and of course he freaks out, because that's not something you're going to handle very well. Especially when you're still pretty young. But from this, we get families have secrets. And boy, do they. It's just part of, even though you're so close, there will always be some secrets you have to keep, or feel you have to keep, or want to keep, from those you hold dear and love. But, so, that's how Ronan doesn't deal with it well. He kind of just stops everything. He has hinting that something is odd, and he ditches his family, stops going to school, and goes off on travels of himself after the storyteller. And it's not towards the ends of those travels that he finally finds out, and it just kind of hits him. And he's still not happy about it, but pieces fall in line. And so he's still not happy with his mother and his aunt, but there's an understanding. And that's another important thing about family is you're not always going to maybe love your family the way you like to, but you can't quite hate them. And Ronan certainly doesn't hate his family, but there's definitely some bitterness there, and about how they treated him and so on. But yeah, family. Very important to the novel. Biggest theme, family's a big one, the biggest theme though is history. Having it deal with Ireland's history, and that makes it very important. But the major question and major topic it brings forth is, what is history really? Is history what the historians and the academics say from like a political perspective, that in such and such year, such and such person did this and it caused this to happen, or is it the stories of the people of a place and their lives and what they did and how they felt? And from that you get the storyteller takes that perspective, and Ronan's history teacher, a man who he respects dearly, as well as along with the storyteller, but he's more of the facts and stuff, like hard. This is history. This is what happened, and then this happened, and that's why. And he's a teacher. He's an academic professor. That's the stance he takes on these kind of things. And the conclusion I think you're supposed to reach is it's primarily, if not entirely, the stories of the people that is what's important for history. But I still feel the facts and stuff are important. At least I feel that way. You can't completely dismiss them, because it's not just the people either. History is complicated, a lot more complicated than people think. And this book has a good hold on what it is and what's important, and that's one reason I really liked the book. It keeps an open mind to history. It knows history isn't just the straight facts. There's more to it. There's a lot of heart and feeling and stuff like that goes on in history that a lot of people don't think about and can get ignored easily, and it shouldn't. But then again, that side isn't all that history is either. It's a balance. As many things are, it's a balance. And this book brings to light the side that is more often ignored, I think, and that's a good thing. Again, a very good thing. And so, again, those are the two big things, history and family, and how they relate to Ireland and Ronan. Their two stories intertwine. And overall, it's a very good book. I highly recommend it, especially if you're interested in Ireland, because the stories, while, again, they're not hard history, are great and fascinating stories that are just stories about Ireland and the people. People like St. Patrick, even so recent as I said, like the Easter Uprising, which was early 1900s, and as far back as like prehistoric times. They talk about the first story that the storyteller tells is about a prehistoric architect that built, I don't remember what he built exactly, but an altar type thing that would be affected by one of the solstices, I think. I'm pretty sure it was a solstice once a year, and like, oh, it's a great monument to our ancestors, and just this prehistoric architect guy. And that was a great story, probably one of the best ones in the whole book. And so you can learn a lot about different times and different stories of Ireland, and it's just a really, really wonderful way to learn about it. And again, highly recommend the book. That's really about all I have to say about it. So thank you for joining me again on this first episode. And I hope you'll join me on the next one when we talk about the Age of Ra. See you then!